Yes, welcome to another episode, number 38 of the Swoop Shoot Podcast. It's myself, Eric. We got Armani, aka Whoop That Trick, Ernest, aka Lakers and Six over the Kings and Rings and Warriors. And we got Polo Keith, aka Brickhouse and Barclays with the Nets going out
Yeah,
super
yeah.
early. And
Damn,
it's
that's crazy.
and and it's your boy Eric, aka see someone, send someone, Knicks and
What
six
is
over Heat.
that? What
Oh
is
my
that?
god.
Okay,
How do you do that?
okay.
Let him have it. Let him have it.
Let
Let
me
him
have my
have
Uh,
it.
shine. Let me have my
What?
shine. All right.
Last
Whatever.
time
Let
the
me
Knicks
have
won
my
a
shine.
playoff series, you were like 2. Let him have it, Armani.
damn, that's true.
What
It's
is
true.
that?
True.
All right. So for today's topic, we're gonna recap the first round series.
hmm
We're gonna preview, give our predictions on the upcoming second round, which starts today with right now
It's
with the
actually
Nuggets and
now.
Suns. Yeah, with the Suns and Nuggets.
Yeah.
We still got one more first round series that needs to be decided. Kings Warriors Game 7 last night. Game 6, the
Like
Warriors
the
laid an
feet.
absolute egg, and the
Like
Like
the
Kings
Definitely
feet.
went
did.
the
in.
Like the
beat.
feet.
Kings went
Like
in,
the
Get out of
beat
here
feet.
with
them
that,
up like
Armani. Get out of here
20
with that.
to force a Game 7.
Hey, real quick, I just want to thank the light skinned brothers up in the Bay Area for giving us some more rest.
Jordan Poole, baby, Jordan Poole.
Yeah. I got Jordan Poole hate too. That's crazy.
No,
Jordan
no,
Poole.
no, 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 no,
Austin
no.
Reeves is
Not over
better.
here.
Austin
Nah,
Reeves is
hell
better.
no, hell no, hell no, hell no. Not even close.
But but yes, let's go over that. And obviously I do want to touch on before we end the show tonight about Joel Embiid. Not good news coming out of Philly about an hour or so ago. And that's gonna affect them down the line going forward. But to recap, let's start in the Eastern Conference. First round series. Um since we're gonna start with the series that ended the quickest, Polo, my bad, but we got to start with the Nets. The
Man.
only team to be swept in this playoff so
Twice,
far.
back-to-back years, man.
Ah, chill.
Back to back
Philadelphia
years.
Philadelphia
Brooklyn.
76ers beating the you know what? Y'all don't even deserve the word Brooklyn right now.
Oh, the disrespect is crazy.
So
Ooh.
The
the New
disrespect.
Jersey Nets have been swept by the
Um,
Philadelphia 76ers.
Ooh.
Polo, your feelings on that? I listen,
all
Josh.
right.
Josh couldn't make the show this week, but Josh, I'm gonna say his feelings on it. Josh actually wanted the Nets to get swept. He actually wanted the Nets not to make the
Oh,
play-in.
I know. I had this talk with him.
You know,
I know. Josh is literally it's my boy. It's one of my closest friends. One of the worst Nets fans at times, though. I tell you, sometimes you gotta have blind faith in your team, even if you know you're gonna lose. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I feel like losing wasn't a justifiable thing for us. Why? We gotta prove to the fan base of the Nets because we're trying to get fans. We're trying to up our fandom that we have a product worth playing for. We're not just playing for tanking and tanking sakes. You know what I'm saying? We have to make people want to come there. Hence, why every free agent comes around, they do want to come to Brooklyn. Dwight Howard wanted to come. Darren Williams wanted to come. You know, tons of other All Stars wanted to come.
somebody
Obviously,
else
Kevin
might come.
Durant.
Who knows? He was at the game
Yeah,
the other day.
yeah. Damian Lillard might come.
Mhm.
Why? Because we have an organization that believes in winning. We don't believe in tanking. Because when was the last time the Nets even drafted a really a solid player? That's why I'm telling Josh, why even go for the tank off the draft? You would have to wait 10 times longer. We haven't drafted a good player, like a transitional player, since what the '96 draft. Kerry Kittles, and he wasn't that. You know what I'm
Yeah,
Ooh.
saying?
that's a good point. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then Cam Martin was the last time we had a top pick, one time All Star, good player, but he wasn't shit until we got Jason Kidd. So, and then after that, he was decent, but he wasn't what you wanted him to be. So, building to the draft works, but our team is already young. We got rid of the disloyalty. You know,
Wow.
I said it. I
Wow.
said it. I said
Wow.
it. I was coming hot. I was coming hot. We got rid of the disloyalty. We got a good fan base. We have good draft stock, and we got good trade stock too. So tanking didn't make sense. And obviously, we had to go against Philly, and then he said, "Oh yeah, my boy Josh Williams Brook Lopez, my fault. Brook Lopez, but even then, Brook Lopez, when he was the solo star in the Nets, was very, very limited.
Josh, listen, I understand you feel a way about your team, brother. But your team is young. I'm sorry, it is young. You don't have any vets that's on the squad right now. So aside from, I mean, Dorian Finney-Smith, Dinshitty. I mean,
you got Steph. Hold on. Chill. We don't Dinwiddie bash around here. We got Seth. We got Patty. You know, we could get rid of those guys or keep them, mix them in. Patty's a championship
Joe Harris
player. Joe, we gotta get him out of here. We gotta get that out of here.
Yeah, you gotta go.
Harris
He gotta go.
He plays every playoffs for the past 4 years since D-Lo. He has played horrible.
And what's wild about Joe Harris is that he has the ear of the front office. Like he is like I've heard a lot of things between, you know, I guess this loyalty crew, between like, you know, their voice and Joe Harris's voice. Like Joe Harris has major stock within the Nets front office. So just
no, he does. All right, so Joe Harris has major stock with the front office because of his loyalty. He helped build the team to where it's at right now. I'm not disloyal to Joe Harris either. Everybody who's loyal to me, I'm loyal to them ex-Nets. Brook Lopez, that's my boy still. I was happy when he won the ring. RJ, all these guys, ex-Nets. I don't play or hate when they win in other teams.
That's good.
I understand why Joe Harris has this, because he may be more like a player coach on the team for right now. Who knows? We don't know. He could be like our Haslam for all we know. But I'm not saying he's a good. Haslam actually won. But what I'm talking about, you know how every team keeps some type of little loyalty player.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking about, like Collison was on the OKC since Seattle, and they retired his jersey. He's trash.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I say that all to say is that they might be keeping him for that purpose, and you know he's still a shooter. So you know that's it. What y'all say? Sean Marks out.
Hey,
we got to get Joe Harris out of there, though. We got to get Joe out of there.
But yeah, you know the Nets clearly struggled. Their game plan was I don't know, like it seemed like obviously Joel Embiid, you know, presents a huge issue, and the Nets had really no one. Claxton, there was no way they had anyone to guard Joel Embiid, and you know, their schemes were about like, okay, let's double him, blitz him. You know, outside of game one, I believe, and game one and game two, they kind of let Embiid go off, try to shut the others down, which didn't work, and then they realized maybe we should start to blitz him a little bit more. And game three was a little bit closer by using that strategy, but I just at the end of the day, the talent gap was just so.
That was
so
the perfect
different
one to win. Yeah.
And then then on top of that, the inconsistency of Joe Harris, of Dinwiddie, of Dorian Finney-Smith, of Seth Curry. Like
the problem is we don't have a top 30 player.
Himself. Right. Exactly.
The problem is we don't have a top 30 player. There's 30 teams in the NBA, and we don't have one of the top 30 players. And that's really the issue. The scheme was actually a pretty smart scheme for the talent level that we have. Yeah. I heard y'all giving Dinwiddie a bad rap. Like, he actually played pretty good to his talent level. Like, he's averaging 17 in the series. He's averaging double figures in assists for the last month.
Hold on. Listen, the stats are great. I'm just going off what he said. He said he's a Drew Holiday type on a championship team. That is fact. So no, he didn't live up to that expectation. He did not.
To be fair, we don't have a transitional player on the team, so we don't know that to be true or distrue. They have a person who was on the top 75 on their team, and Drew Holiday won. We don't have nobody like that. When he played with Kevin Durant, he got hurt. So we don't. So him saying that is not.
He played with Luka.
But okay, Luka's not that. Come on, stop that. Come on. Ooh.
Yo, wait, hold on.
I'm not saying he can't be that, but they got to the conference finals last year. With him on the team as the third option, but they didn't have a real second option. Well, they did. I think Brunson was the second option because they screwed that team up. But that was their first time playing around. They should have ran it back, but they didn't. So what he's saying is not necessarily a lie. Now I ain't gonna lie, he was talking crazy to Kuzma. He talking crazy.
Yeah, he was.
He's talking crazy to Kuzma. But then what he said is not to be proven wrong or correct. So to be fair to him, he is pretty good in his role.
I feel like he didn't have to cook that man in broad daylight, man. That was just disgusting. It was a regular day. The playoffs didn't even start yet when he cooked them, but I just felt like Dinwiddie, damn, the ether kept playing in my head when I see that.
But he played good in the playoffs, though. I thought he played good. Like he had some questionable moments, but the whole team did. So it's like whatever. What can we say?
I just think ultimately, the talent gap was just too massive between the two. I would have been surprised if Brooklyn got one game. I predicted a sweep as well.
I had Brooklyn. I had the Sixers in 6, and Game 3 was a game for Brooklyn to win. And so I went to Game 4, and I was just absolutely like, I hate that Mikal Bridges went out that way. I like Mikal, and I told Josh this. Josh didn't want to hear. He didn't have time for me that day. But I was like, "Yo, bro, like the way Mikal went out, like, man just could not buy a bucket, man. Joe Harris could not buy a bucket. Then she couldn't buy a bucket, and then usually, whatever.
And you know what's crazy about that, Armani? Like, I'm watching that game unfold, and I'm like, man, if they, and I get it, Cam Thomas is a terrible defender. And in the playoffs, you need guys that's going to defend. But at the same time, the game's been always about buckets. It's always been about that. And if you couldn't get any offensive production from any of those guys, and you know that this guy you have on the bench is a gunner, so sometimes you got to roll the dice and say, you know what, Cam, I need you to go out there and get some buckets. You as a coach have to be able to hide him on defense.
He had a good game too.
Right.
He had a good game too.
Right.
Exactly. He had a good game too. And yeah, it just sucks that downfall. You know what I mean? And I went to the game, and crazy enough, I was surrounded by Philly fans. Like there was no Nets fans in the building besides like a little section or whatever. But like what's crazy? No, hurry up. I was talking to you during the game. I was talking to you while I was at the game. And at the beginning of the fourth quarter, they usually go on the Jumbotron, and usually the star playing the team like, yo, Nets fans, let's get loud. You hear
You should have came to game 3. I got video. That's not true. It should have came to game 3. We were disappointed after that. That's why.
Y'all let Tobias Harris cook up. Y'all let Tobias Harris cook up. Y'all
let Tyrese Maxey win game 3.
Top 30, 50. What?
We don't have a top 30 player. I'm keeping it real. They have James Harden. At the end of the day, even if he's not playing at his best, he's still a top 30 player. You got Tobias Harris is like 35 to 40. You got Maxey, who's a rising star. We only have Bridges, and Cam Johnson actually played pretty well in the playoffs. But like these guys are just now getting their footing on this is their team. Versus Maxey's been on Philly for a while, had his footing. Tobias Harris, he's always been kind of like the second or third best player on every team he's been on. Or the best.
Josh wants me to read some stats for you, bro.
Read them out.
All 4 games. All right.
Read them out.
So game 1, Dinwiddie played 36 minutes, 14 points, 5 for 12, 3 rebounds, 7 assists. Game 2, 41 points, 12 points, 5 for 14.
You in the Matrix.
Armani, you in the Matrix.
You in the Matrix, bro.
Yeah, you can't. Your junk is breaking up, Armani.
Oh, word?
Game 2. What happened?
I'm clear.
You broke up in game 2. Yeah, game 2.
Game 2.
Start back from game 2.
12 points, 5 for 14, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. Game 3, 20 points, 5 for 12, 3 rebounds, 7 assists. And game 4, 20 points, 7 for 13, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists. So
that was a good stat.
Yeah, that was a good. But think about this for a player of his of his level. That's solid. What do y'all think y'all gonna get? Kyrie's, Kevin? Y'all gonna think Steph Curry play out of this guy? That's solid stats for a mid-level player. He's only getting like $52 million a year.
That's solid.
For 2 years, I should say. For 2 years.
I just think the talent gap was just too much for Brooklyn to overcome.
Right.
And you know, I think Brooklyn has some interesting things coming up in the offseason. We'll see how that unfolds. And we'll see. We'll see. Guy's getting over 60 million when he's 36, but we'll see.
All we want is one ring in Brooklyn. That's all we want. That's all we want.
Before I jump to the next series in the East, I just want to leave it with this: if Dame goes to Brooklyn, it's going to be tough for me to see what else they put around him that's not going to succeed the success he has in Portland because of the cap and because of the contracts, and we'll get to that when we do our all-season episode. But something to think about. But
make sure I'm on that one.
For sure. For the next series in the East, we have the number 2 seed and the number 7 seed, Boston Celtics and Atlanta Hawks, with Boston coming out on top in 6 games. Boston, I really thought after game 3, I thought Boston was just going to they just seemed like they just had the series in control. Atlanta looked defeated, and then you couple that with DeJounte Murray being suspended for game 4. I was like, yeah, this series is over in 4.
No, he was suspended in game 5.
Sorry, suspended in game 5.
Yeah.
Pardon me. But
wait,
Atlanta
hold
came
on.
out.
Let me just ask y'all a question real quick. Y'all can hear me clear though, right?
Yeah.
All right. So the question I was going to ask was, do y'all think Tatum should have been held accountable for some sort of consequences? Because there was a play, I think might have been in the second quarter, can't remember. It was a foul.
Trae
Young. He shoved the referee, and I don't care if he was targeted at Trae, but there was a similar play. There was a similar play early in the season. I believe it was the scuffle between Orlando and Minnesota. One of the players had pushed the referee out the way. That's just all I'm saying. So same consequences. If we being realistic,
we in the playoffs, man.
Yeah, it's give and take. It's the playoffs.
Okay.
I feel you. But
we in the playoffs.
Now.
Yeah.
He didn't do what DeJounte. DeJounte went at the ref. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He was calling the bad calls.
Yeah, DeJounte Murray, he targeted the ref.
Yeah,
it was a little different.
The ref. It was literally. It could have been the cameraman for all he could have cared. Because he didn't notice. I don't think that was the ref. You know what I'm saying? And the ref didn't take exception to it. Yeah. So
one was the incident and one was a target.
So they cheated for the Celtics. That's why it's rigged. That's why.
Maybe.
We'll talk about the Celtics down the line in a little bit. But Atlanta put up a valiant effort. Trae Young, man, to go into Boston Garden and that was pretty ballsy.
I'm gonna tell you a reason why they turned up, but I'll let you finish breaking it down.
The Boston Celtics.
I think Atlanta still has some answers they have to. They have some questions they have to answer in the offseason.
Definitely.
But again, given the fact that the Celtics, I think the Celtics just played around with their food a little bit too much, and that's why they got caught with their pants down a little bit, because I do think there are some flaws. And I'll get to the Celtics because I don't think they're going to the finals, but
I don't know about that now.
Yeah, I have a wild take that I'm going to say later. I have a wild take, and a part of me believes it.
It might not be that
part of me
wild.
kind of believes it, but we'll see.
It might not be that wild. It might not be that wild.
Yeah.
Yo, Eric, you gotta chill, son.
This is gonna be insufferable. Oh my
God.
God.
Eric, you gotta chill, son.
Jesus. This is so insufferable.
What is that?
I'm gonna say this one point.
Yeah, go ahead,
on
Paul.
the Hawks series. I think Boston did play with their food a little bit, but also a coincidence that happened, which we all know this about Trae Young, that they put out that article that he was rated the most overrated. The same day that he had that game.
Yeah, good point.
And one, I think all right. Maybe he is as good as most people might say he is. I don't think he may be that good, but he's definitely not overrated. And when they had him rated, like he wasn't the top 13 best guards on the Eastern Conference or something, that was crazy. So I'm like that. And mind you, I'm not even like a Trey fan like that. I like him, but like he's not my
and
guy.
And it wasn't voted by the fans. It was voted by his peers. These are his contemporaries in the league that he's playing against day in and day out. Like that,
so,
even in itself, it's like, hold up. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
I think that sparked them. Like, oh, y'all don't think I'm this good, and I don't even know how people could say that because in his 30 in the NBA, he's in the conference finals. Like, so how is he overrated, or where are you guys thinking people are ranking him? Because I think he kind of doesn't really get a lot of credit
and
for what he does for the Atlanta Hawks.
What's wild to me is that Luka gets a lot of praise.
Exactly.
In comparison to Trae Young, because I know Luka's gotten the slander as well, but
not
to the level of Trae Young,
he deserves it.
Right? And whereas Luka, there's some questions about you too. You know, in particular, obviously this year and how the year ended. But yeah, listen, Trae Young really put the team on his back, and it just, again, they didn't have enough. The talent gap was a little bit too much.
Yeah.
And obviously Boston is more equipped for a championship run than Atlanta is right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, even when we was doing our offseason predictions and rating the offseason moves, like I still wasn't too certain about the DeJounte Murray move. Like, I get it, it has another guard in the backcourt, somebody that can play defense and stuff like that. But like, what about everybody else? Like, I know DeAndre Hunter is coming into his own and stuff like that, but like, I feel like they're just missing something. Like they have
too much of the same player,
right? And
like
they got a whole
Hunter, Collins.
They have a whole lot of wings.
Bogdanovich, all those guys.
Sadiq Bey, like,
all those guys kind of do the same thing.
Right.
Honestly, that's not really the
Capella.
That's some of the problem, but I think there's two problems. They don't have a vet, and they need a better coach. Because the problem, you watch how they play. Adding DeJounte Murray means you want Trae Young to play off the ball.
Right.
More.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They don't run any play off the ball plays for him. He stands in the left or the right of the corner or the wing.
And
nobody's rotating. They gotta run them like they do Golden State. Nobody's rotating.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody's rotating. So they're playing
they don't have the personnel for it.
They have the personnel.
Or like you said,
they have the personnel.
Yeah.
They don't have the coach.
Right.
Because
the coach came in like in the middle of this, like right after All-Star break. So
and Quinn Snyder didn't have. He doesn't. So
he doesn't have his staff either.
He doesn't have his staff. It's literally the same staff that McMillan had, and like he literally walked into the gym for practice. Was like, all right, I'm the head coach, and they just ran with that. So I think, given to your point, in the summer when they, training camp and they have time to get together and run through those things, and they, Quinn Snyder will have a load of film. I think it'll help Trae Young and DeJounte Murray, especially with Quinn Snyder coming from Utah. Like he a lot of those pin down screens, a lot of movement, offense. He did that with Donovan Mitchell when Donovan Mitchell was not ball hogging, but. That was kind of their centric offense.
They was rated like the best 3-point shooting team in the league.
I was about to say Utah shot a ton of threes because of the offense that they ran. So to your point, Polo, I think we'll see that next season with the Hawks.
Yeah, I would think, and I would do this. You don't need to necessarily. I'll bring back Lou Williams. You need a vet that they respect on the team. The problem with teams like these young teams is not necessarily, I have a vet. Like Clint Capella's a vet, but he's not a vet that you respect.
Right.
You need somebody who's been in your shoes sometimes. He may not even have to play that many games.
He's still trying to get his money. So, like, he's still got years in front of him.
You want to get a vet over there like that. So it keeps the team grounded. And that's why they got to the conference finals that year. They had Lou Williams on the team. Somebody that Trae Young could understand and respect. And if he still
play style too. Yep.
Yeah. And they had Gallinari, another vet that you could respect. Who could play in this system. They kind of played like Golden State with that McMillan team a little bit. They did some player movements. The difference was they didn't have another playmaking guard. Yeah. But they did a lot of player movement when they had Gallinari. They had Lou Williams because they had these kind of players that can lead a little bit. Also, get some stability when the league gets carried away with them. Right now, they don't have that. They just going. Yeah. And it's not going to hit.
Yep. And with that, Boston advances. And they faced the Philadelphia 76ers in the second round.
Right.
The next series in the East, we're gonna go to there's two big stories, right? But we'll start off with the biggest one, I think, right now, and that's the Miami Heat, number 8 seed, upsetting a number 1 seed.
Hit me buckets.
Jimmy buckets, man,
and the Milwaukee
Hemi
Bucks,
buckets.
Man.
And disclaimer, and again, I am far from being sympathetic about injuries because when my team goes through injuries, no one gives a crap, right? And I understand Giannis, he only played 11 minutes in that first game. He was out in game 2, and he was out in game 3. No excuse. I am sorry. This season was a failure, sir.
Oh,
it was a
failure. Major failure. Major
it
failure.
was a failure. Okay.
I see his point though, but I'll listen to you.
No, I seen this point, and I posted something on Twitter. You know, it was a video of Kobe talking about failure and how it doesn't exist, and it's just, you know, like it's what you learn. And I understand.
He did learn from Kobe, by the way.
Also in the same vein, Kobe had a press conference where they asked him when he lost in 2008. Do you consider the season a failure? He was like, "Well, the goal is to win the championship, so we failed." Simple.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I think a lot of people got it misconstrued. I think, well, not even. I think Giannis got it misconstrued, and the people receiving that answer, because I think he was talking from a personal and mixed it in with professional. But it's like at the end of the day, you're the number one. You're the best team in the league. You're the best record. You're already crowned as the best player, and you lost in the first round, 8th seed in 5 games.
5 games.
That is a failure.
Not
that is
7,
a failure.
5 games.
Yeah.
That is a failure. That is a failed season. That's all. That's all it is.
To play devil's advocate to it, though, I will say I agree with you. Injuries is part of the game. You can't count that. But that does throw you off rhythm. And that injury, I didn't think he was coming back in the series.
No.
Listen,
I didn't think he was coming back.
So the 5-1 is a little misleading. Like,
but here's the thing.
But
here's the thing. Giannis had 38 and 20. Then he had a triple-double the game before that.
But you got to think about it. Rhythm is playoffs is all about rhythm. But his rhythm got thrown off.
But also, don't forget.
This devil advocate, though. I agree with you, though.
Yeah.
Also, don't forget Game 4. Bucks had a 13-point lead with 3 minutes to go.
I thought it was over.
And had a 16-point lead
in game
the fourth quarter in Game 5.
Exactly.
They had an 11-point lead with like 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They both blew those games.
Yeah.
You can't blow those games, especially the home games. Like, you blew those games when you were up. I can see if out the gate when Giannis came back, I can even see them struggling without Giannis, which they did. And then when Giannis coming back, he's struggling. But you guys were up in the fourth quarter with less than 10 minutes to go in each of those games.
But also, I would say you have to congratulate Eric Spoelstra. They really dug deep, and you know, we also thought that we was seeing like a similar situation that they had with Joe Harris in Brooklyn. We thought that Duncan Robinson was going to rot on the bench, making all that money just rotting on the bench, and he stayed ready. And when he got in the game, man was just like lighting up the threes and stuff like that. And I think that was kind of a turning point in the series, especially with Tyler Hero with their with their second or third score going down. Duncan Robinson was a game changer in that series. He definitely gave Miami Heat some life in that series.
Also, you could go back to last week, a couple weeks ago at the play-in. They lost at home to the Hawks, and they were like 3 minutes away in the fourth quarter. They were down 3 against the Bulls. They were like 3 minutes away from losing their season at home.
Yeah.
So for them to like come back, play the Bucks, and also it's like it's a monumental upset, but the matchup wise, the Heat they have history against the Bucks in the playoffs. They beat them before, so it's not like this is the first time. No, they know how to match up well against the Bucks with their defense.
The Heat were a 3-point shot away last season.
From going to the finals.
And let's keep it real. We got to stop underestimating Jimmy Butler, man. Playoff Jimmy is a real player. He shows up.
On top of that,
the skills.
The bubble was real, guys. The bubble was real. Like what we saw
from harder.
Jimmy Butler, what we saw from LeBron, and the bubble was real. Like we can't refute that. Like Jimmy Butler is that guy. Yeah. The dude's averaging 37 points a game in the playoffs right now, bro. That's insane.
And also the fact, and then also watching the Bucks, the fact that Coach Bud didn't even attempt to get the ball out of Jimmy Butler's hand. Call timeouts, like letting a 6-point lead, 6-point run go to 13-point run. Like
Giannis didn't own the moment. Like,
and Giannis. Oh, speaking of Giannis, Game 5, talk about an indictment on shooting free throws. He
Horrible.
missed 13 free throws
Straight.
in an elimination game, and on top of that, the last play before in overtime when they had to jump. No, last play in the fourth quarter when they had to jump ball.
He passed the ball.
No, he literally avoided the ball because he didn't want to go to the free throw line.
Yeah, he passed the ball.
He
Like,
almost
I don't know why are we surprised by this. He's done this before in the past though. He's missed free throws like this. He's also avoided the moment, hence why people thought Chris Middleton was their closer a lot of the times or their best player. So this is not new. We just seeing reoccurring things. And I ain't gonna lie, maybe I think the game got into his head. Jimmy Butler was talking big trash on the court. So that might have gone into his head. And then this notion of him being the best player in the game, which I don't think, but I think he's definitely top 3 or top 5. But I think some of it you got to factor in when you put that title on somebody, that also gets to them because maybe he don't even believe that 100% that he's the best exact player in the game.
Yeah, it's LeBron or somebody.
Like, he thinks it's KD or he said Steph because he won last year. Hence, we got to give my boy Steph some credit.
I mean, he's a humble guy. You know, he learned from his peers. He's
a great player.
Respect his peers.
I love him.
Yeah, I get it. But at the same time, like
you gotta have some grit.
You gotta make it known that hey, I'm the best player on the floor. So win or lose is on me.
Right.
But he wasn't. Nah.
Exactly.
Nah.
Like because best player is not just about skill; it's about mindset. It's about mindset.
And also,
if you don't feel like,
and also it's about making your teammates better and making sure that they're good to go. Like in the crunch situation, fourth quarter, you're down 5 in the playoff game. Hey, you need buckets. Okay, when the play through me, I'll get us a play to score or but put it through me.
Word. Yeah, I think he makes the team better.
And that's what Jimmy Butler did.
I think he makes the team better. I just think it got into his head, man. It got to his head. A lot of the things being because look at that press conference. I've never seen him that aggressive. Ever. Yeah, I thought he was going to smack that reporter. I was like, that reporter about to get it. He's about to get a 7-foot smack.
Hey, shout out to the 8 seed Heat to be the first playing team to win a playoff series. Yeah, man, shout out to the playing teams this year. Wink, wink. Then they move on and they will now play against the New York Knicks, who have beaten the Cleveland Cavaliers in 5 games.
That was crazy.
And handled them pretty much. I never thought for a second Cleveland had a chance. I always said the Knicks were going to win that series. Jalen Brunson, the steal of the free agency, he has played way above his value.
Should have been an all-star.
Should have been an all-star, for sure.
Definitely.
RJ
I hate the Knicks, but he deserved it.
RJ Barrett, after not showing up for a couple games, started to really understand, his strengths in this series, and you started to see him flourish. Even without Quentin Grimes, Josh Hart, man, I mean, what a pickup for the Knicks. He's done a tremendous job for them, and I listen and this is with a hobbled Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson, dominating the boards in that series against those 2 bigs, which is insane to me because Cleveland, you guys have a lot of decisions to make. I understand the 2 big lineup, but you gotta be able to spread the floor if you have Donovan Mitchell.
And Spidey, do you regret not coming to the Knicks?
And
he tried to go to the Knicks. The Knicks.
He tried. Yeah, he tried.
The Knicks dropped that bag.
He tried. I mean,
that was on the Knicks, not him.
I still think Donovan becomes a Knick in 2 years, but we'll see. But yeah, man, shout out to the Knicks, man, for advancing to the second round. They will have home court advantage in this series against the Heat, which is huge.
That was another series that dictated by will versus skill.
Yes,
because the skill was on the Cavaliers side, but the will was on the Knicks side.
Yeah, the Cavs just don't. They don't have that grit, and I think we all agreed, and we said this going into the series.
I got a couple of ex-Nets there, so I know they got some softies. Over there.
By the way, speaking of which, Jared Allen.
Jared Allen was.
He said, he said
quoted,
something. He quoted the lights are too bright.
He said I did not. I was not. No. He said I was not prepared. I did not think the lights would be this bright.
Like, excuse me.
Like it's
Go
the
okay.
playoffs.
Here's the thing, though.
Your starting center can't say
Here's
nothing
the
like
thing,
that,
though.
bro.
Here's the thing, though.
Not on my team.
Like
Can't say
Word.
nothing
you
like
cannot
that.
say that
Can't
going
say
to
that.
a playoff series saying that. Oh,
I'd rather you
I
not
expect
say
like
nothing at all, but don't say
exactly.
that.
But you know what? That also see for all ball players, like like you ever play against someone like yeah, like he can't guard me, or you can tell like when that opposing player is like fret and he's back in the day we used to call it pet, like yo he's wild pet right now because he's scared, right? So
Right.
if Jared Allen was able to say that to the media, what you think the players knew about Jared Allen and those
Oh yeah, they knew
situations?
that.
And
They
Oh
what
knew
you
yeah.
that.
think the Knicks knew? The Knicks knew. Oh yeah, he's scared.
I'm gonna tell you, it wasn't necessarily the Knicks. It was the Knicks fans. When you play in Madison Square
Oh
Garden,
yeah.
It's
Oh
a
yeah.
different. It's
that is
way
different,
different.
and that's why he
It's
said that. It's
way
not
different.
if they would have played against, let's just say they would have had a first round matchup against like even the Nets, right? The crowd wouldn't have got him out because
Or the Magic. Or something.
Magic, yeah, Orlando
Or-
Magic.
or
They
the
might have
Pacers.
just they might have ran through that because there's several fandoms that the crowd is your weapon. That's why the bubble is real because there was no crowd, so even the bums could play well.
Yeah,
Versus
exactly.
versus when you have a crowd going crazy, you a bum. You think about it. Look what Trey Young was doing. They were spitting on him, calling him baldy when he played out there. So you do got to be prepared to play in those really loud arenas and those really jam packed like atmospheres because that's the testament of a champion and a pro. And granted, he has a little bit of playoff experience, but he doesn't have that grand stage. Like, yeah, you played against Philly before, and I've been in Philly. It's a crazy crowd. It's not Madison Square Garden. It's not
No.
Madison Square.
Yeah.
Also, couple points here about the Knicks series. I thought rebounding and bench play was going to be the vital point of the series, vital keys of the series. The Knicks mauled them on offensive rebounds. Like,
Which is crazy.
it was insane how easy Mitchell Robinson, Isaiah Hartenstein, Josh Hart got those extra possessions, led to big buckets by R.J. Barrett, Jalen Brunson. With Julius Randle only had two good games before he sprained his ankle in game 5. Quickly didn't have a good series.
Grimes was out.
Grimes was out for 2 games for the rest of the series. Obi Toppin stepped in and provided major minutes. I thought Deuce McBride in game 4, his couple minutes in the second quarter was huge, and then pressuring Donovan Mitchell. And I just thought that the Cavaliers, their matchups, and like they had no scoring besides Donovan Mitchell. Isaac Okoro was like in and out of the rotation. Jimmy Bickerstaff after game 3, if you could easily look at the fact that he had no more adjustments because Karis LeVert coming off the bench starting made no sense. And on top of that, Isaac Okoro was the best defender, but he couldn't shoot to save the season. Jetty Osman was barbecue chicken against Jalen Brunson. The
Karis LeVert did make sense.
Going
The
left.
Karis LeVert did make sense.
You knew Jalen Brunson's going left. Why are you giving left?
I say this: if Karis LeVert is your primary wing,
you got problems.
You're
You got
cooked.
problems.
Yeah.
You got problems.
You got problems.
I'm gonna tell you why they had to go with that. He's one of those sneakily, eerily good defenders. Like he gets miscellaneous steals, and he's not afraid of big shots because they had to go with people who they knew had heart. And and he'll hit big shot. He'll go on stretches. He'll go, and I know this because
he's done it before. We've seen it. We've seen it. Yeah,
he was here.
Also,
so that's why you had to go with that.
But also think about this: if it wasn't for that second quarter of game 2, this is sweet. This was a sweep.
Yeah.
So
just
now,
honestly, how I feel about this series, I feel like Cavaliers plays were just too lax. I feel like they were just relying a lot on
urgency.
Donovan Mitchell and
there was a lot of ISO.
relying on Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell just to take him somewhere, And I felt like this is Evan Mobley's second year in the league, right? And I know, Evan Mobley has gotten some really pretty big comparisons based off his skill set. I feel like that could have been his moment right there to have a big playoff series, even if they lost, to produce. The thing with the Knicks, I feel like it just comes with the city, just comes with the Garden, just comes with the fans. They all play with a chip on their shoulder. So even if RJ Barrett was having a bad game 1 and 2, like that didn't count him out from game 3 and 4 and so on. You know, Brunson, we already knew Brunson was gonna be Brunson, but to see Randall like still struggle and still deal with the injury, and like I believe it was game 3 where he just kept jacking up shots and couldn't throw a rock into a leak. Like he was still finding ways to get himself in the game, you know, whatever it was, whether it was on the defensive end, rebounding end, something. And I think that's why the Knicks won this series, because they all played the chip on their shoulder. They was just like, all right, if Brunson's not in the game, well, we still going to cook. We still going to dominate. Whereas Cavs was just like, oh, yeah, we just wait on Donovan Mitchell, wait on Garland, and we'll see what we could do with that. So
I think a problem with the Cavaliers, though, bringing Donovan Mitchell over there kind of dimmed Garland's light and confidence a little bit.
I get that.
And because he was the key for the series for them to really win this. He's going to be they got to figure out in the offseason, how can we keep him aggressive in playmaking, because he's actually the best playmaker on the team.
Yeah.
And he's very efficient when he's like cooking. He's very efficient. And also keep Donovan Mitchell aggressive. So they might have to address
Donovan has an issue with playmaking because he tends to hold the ball a lot. He takes a lot of shots, sometimes a lot of ill-advised shots. And he has to understand too, like, how does he share the wealth with him and Darius? That's the only way it's going to work.
Yeah. Or like Kevin Love to help with that.
I mean, yeah, and then he's averaging game there like 16 right now. But unless like Mobley in the offseason has this like offensive like spurt out of nowhere, like where he can get his own and whatever, but like they're gonna have to figure something out with those two guards, and they're small, so it's not like they're big guards that can defend as well, you know. So you got to combat that, giving up the defense with supplemental offense. And if it's just one guy chucking, it's not going to work. So,
and pretty much you're relying on because all your two guards and your wing player and Karis LeVert all can't play defense, and Mobley a little bit suspect on defense. So you're relying pretty much on Jarrett Allen, like as their primary defender to stop everything. It's not going to work. It's not going to work like that.
Hey man, we'll make a little trade and bring a big guy over here. We'll give you a wing or two. We got some to spare. We got some wings to spare over here in Brooklyn. Bring back Jared Allen over to the Nets.
Get rid of Joe Harris, and y'all got mad picks. So y'all got draft capital. So y'all
we'll give you Joe and Finney Smith. That's pretty solid.
And then Shitty.
No. Stop disrespecting Dinwiddie. That's my friend. He followed me on Instagram. Yeah, that's my friend. That's my friend, man. He's not a bad player.
Yo, if that's your friend, tell him to watch us, man.
I will. I'm gonna listen, man. I defended you because I feel like his criticism.
Hopefully, he played better.
I've been hearing. I'm like, yo, like, are y'all really watching the game? He's not playing that bad. He's like, he's playing pretty high.
No. He had a solid series. I get it. It's all fun. It's all fun for the Twitter engagement.
Yeah, they be killing him like he was playing horrible. I've seen some horrible play in this playoffs. It wasn't for him.
Yeah, that's right.
Look at what Jared Allen was doing, not getting rebounds. That's all you do, brother.
Right, yeah. That's what you get paid to do. Son.
Right. You dunk the ball. That's it.
And you block some shots. He wasn't getting rebounds.
If
you get our rebounded by Josh Hart, you got problems, bro.
Yeah, that's not good. But good job, Knicks. You know, y'all did something for New York. I don't like y'all, but I still respect the New York. I still respect the New York grind.
Hey, man,
it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse.
Now the Eastern.
Let's go Heat.
The Eastern Conference is the Eastern Conference semifinal is set. We have Knicks and Heat, and then you have Celtics and Sixers. And now let's shoot over to the West.
Eric,
first
like
round.
I said, but before we go to the West, Eric, like I said on Twitter earlier, you have to bring back the blue and black uniforms for that series for old time's sake.
They're not going to.
They're not going to. They're not going to. Unfortunately, they're not going to, man.
Sprewell era, Allen Houston with the fist pump running to the other side of the court.
I know, man.
I need some coaches to get choked out. You know
yeah.
Oh, by the way,
I will say this.
Actually, tomorrow is the 25th year anniversary of the Game 4 1998 fight
So
Yo.
we need
And
that.
tomorrow's
Yeah.
game one.
I'm old as hell.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that too. That was
We
wild.
need that.
That
Jeff
was
Van Gundy
wild.
holding on Alonzo Mourning's leg. Like,
Word. I ain't gonna lie. That's when I actually liked the Knicks. They used to have some savages, man. I was like, they got some
Oh,
fuck with these guys.
man.
Sprewell, Patrick
oh
Ewing.
man,
Another person get disrespected.
Chris Childs
We need to
was
put some
one
respect
on.
Patton.
I will say
yeah,
this.
Snuff Kobe.
Chill.
Snuff
No,
Kobe.
that is
I knew he was
erased
gonna bring him up.
from
I knew
history.
he was gonna-
I
Yo,
knew you was going there. I
bro,
knew as soon as you said Chris
Yo,
Child, like,
Kobe.
here they go.
I
There you
knew.
go.
I
Reggie
knew.
Miller choked him too.
Bro, I've known Harry O's for
We got 5 of these, though.
almost 10 years. And when I told him I was a Kobe fan, he immediately brought that up. I said, yo, bro. I said,
Like, come on,
I
give
said,
it
bro.
up,
I
bro.
said, come on, bro. I said, let me
fact,
live,
bro.
man. Let me
NBA players
live.
get punched in the mouth every day. Ask Jordan.
That's a fact. That's a
Anyway,
fact. Not Jason Kidd though. He do the punching.
But I will say though, the Knicks will need Julius Randle in this series. I do not think Jade. We'll talk about this. I'll leave it later. So going to the Western Conference now. We have 3 series that just finished not too long ago. One that ended last night. But first off, we'll go with Denver and Minnesota. I don't like to say this, and I mean this in the most respectful way.
Talk your shit.
Timberwolves.
But the Timberwolves are one of the most dumbest teams I've ever seen.
Yes. Yes. It's crazy.
Sorry.
It's crazy.
I mean, like, I feel bad for Cat, man. I mean, not
No.
I feel bad for Ant-Man. Sorry.
Ant-Man. Cat is stupid as hell.
I feel bad for Ant-Man. It's just, man, like, obviously, you know, with the fight between Gobert and Anderson, which suspended him against the Lakers in the playing game, and then Jaden McDaniel punching a wall for what apparent reason? Because of his minutes, which, I mean, like, now he broke his hand and he was out for the year. Like,
Oh, wait. They pan to the bench. You see Nasri sitting right next to McDaniels. They all had the same castle on the same. It was so funny. It was like, yo.
At least Nasri got hurt actually playing basketball,
bro.
and it was unfortunate, but the Timberwolves, man. Shout out to Ant-Man for willing them to get one game, because he did say he was not going to get swept, and he is him.
He played a great series.
Right.
I wish he would have got it started earlier, but like game, what was it? Game 4? Game 4, man. When he hit Aaron Gordon with the crossover, hit the dagger 3.
Yeah.
Right.
That was mean.
Jokic, dominated the whole series. There was nothing none of them could do to guard him.
Bro, you got
actually
7 foot.
Actually, there was something, but I'll let you finish saying that. There was something they could have did.
And there was, but
they're stupid.
They stupid. They stupid.
Well, hopefully, if Phoenix doesn't recognize it, because I don't think they have the personnel.
They don't have the personnel
or the longevity of the series to do it. But if they face a certain team in Southern California, oh yeah, that's getting spammed all night long. But anyway, this was a tune-up for Jamal Murray, clearly. And now he's starting to look back into form, and Denver looks pretty
up
good
right now.
Yeah, they're up right now. And again,
right now.
I want to give my predictions in before the halftime, because I have a take. And it's a wild one, but I have a take.
Talk that talk.
It's not wild.
But Denver advances, moving past Minnesota. As expected, I actually thought Minnesota was going to get swept, given the fact that they were already out 3 key guys, or two key guys, and then I don't trust Rudy. I don't trust Cat. The only 2 guys I really trust, the 3 guys on that team I trust, is Kyle Anderson, Ant-Man, and Mike Conley. What do you guys feel on that series, and what did you take from it?
So I would say on that series, the problem is Cat. Cat has been the leader. Cat has been the leader of this team for the longest. He's been on the team the longest. He hasn't been in the NBA the longest.
That's his eighth. This is eighth season.
This is
His
eighth
eighth
season.
and
Eighth
he's
season.
going in next season will be his last year on his contract.
Right. And the problem is he's a bad leader because for all we can say, yes, Ant-Man is the leader of the team. No, Cat is technically the leader of the team, and that's why it's failing. Because Ant-Man is the reason why they're even making the playoffs. And the reason why I'm saying that is he's been surrounded around a bunch of talent that became all-stars after him. Wiggins, Levine, you know what I'm saying? All of these guys are good players. D'Lo was an all-star before he got there. You know, so you can't blame it on Ant-Man. Ant-Man and Jimmy Butler are the equivalent of the same. When you got these players on the team because they have strong wills, you make the playoffs. But when it's just you there, they're not making the playoffs. Why? They're making bad decisions on the court. You're out here, they switching on you with small guys, and you're shooting threes.
Right.
Think about this. Think about this in the playing game. The Lakers, Rui Hachimura
guarded him.
Or Anthony Towns. And not only that, they also put Austin Reeves on him.
Yo, that's crazy.
He just shot threes.
He just shot threes. And I was like, what is this guy doing?
Actually, that's even false. He wasn't just shooting threes. In the first half, he was going to the rim.
He was cooking us. Yeah.
And then he said, okay, I'm going to shoot threes now. Like, what? What's going on? And then the offense got stagnant. And then like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do?
But look,
Ant-Man's having an off game.
I would say that one, that's credit to our defense, but two, to be 7 foot. No.
But listen, Armani. We were down 15 at halftime. So the defense wasn't that great. It was just how stupid they were. And LeBron was like, watch this.
The difference is
our defense, their stupidity.
No, Armani. Normally I would agree.
We capitalized.
Y'all capitalized, but their stupidity was because they had the matchups they wanted and they didn't take advantage of it. When you get the matchup you wanted and you're going to take a bad shot, like you can't put that on the defense. Now, if you get the matchups you wanted and they stop it, that's two different things. Get the switch on a small man who's not a defender. This is not Tony Allen, who's a 6'5" white guy, and you're a 7 foot, size 18 shoe black man, and you don't say, "Hey, I'm going to just move into the paint." And another thing that they need to realize, some of it's the coaching on Timberwolves. Yo, I have a big guy who can shoot, and I have another big guy who can't. But Cat has multiple skills. How about we run plays through him so when they come for the double, Rudy Gobert gets easy.
So like a high low.
High low.
Yeah. Also, they rarely spam pick and roll between him and Ant-Man. Imagine it's pick your poison, because then now what happens is if you're running a constant pick and roll or a dribble handoff between Ant-Man and Cat on one side of the court, the defense is naturally going to go to the strong side, which means you're going to have Mike Conley or Kyle Anderson open for three, Torian Prince, or you're going to have Rudy open under the basket. They never ran any of that stuff.
So here's my thing, right?
That's why it's Cat. He's stupid.
Here's my thing, and Harry, you brought up a great point about the coaching. So I was talking about this with my uncle the other day after we left Game 4, and I don't care how many draft picks Gobert got traded for. I felt that Gobert should have came off the bench in this series, so that way you could constantly keep throwing somebody at Jokic. So instead of both of them getting in foul trouble at the same time, were legit, they both got fouled out. Right,
which is crazy.
They both got fouled out at the end of Game 5, like literally, like a minute or two apart.
I half agree with you, Armani. The reason why you kind of double up on playing big because you have Jokic, that you could take advantage of him and get him tired that way because he doesn't like to defend. And then you got somebody who wants to defend him at the same time, even though he can't guard him. It's just to wear him down, because to keep it real, the talent level wasn't like, oh, the Nuggets is here and the Timberwolves are there. No,
but
the
then
talent
again,
level was kind of close.
But then also, then again, like if you sit Gobert, it helps out your offense a little bit more, because Cat struggled for the 3-point line. That way you can get another stretch 4 or another 3 out there, so that way you can hit shots.
You want to know what's crazy? The offense actually ran better when Cat was off the floor with just Gobert on there.
They was able to pick and roll, throw lobs and stuff like that,
because they
came back in that game.
Look how many in Game 5,
and Edwards had space
in Game 5, because the Timberwolves could have won that game. If you look at how many lobs Mike Conley was throwing to Gobert when Cat was fouled out,
that Utah connection.
Yeah. So Denver moves on as expected, and now we move on to the next series, and that series is the Phoenix Suns and the Los Angeles Clippers. I will say,
Get him out of here.
If
son.
Paul George and Kawhi Leonard were healthy, the Suns would have lost in the first round. I
Probably.
am very confident in
Probably,
saying that.
yeah.
But again, it's the Clippers.
Yeah, they gotta break it up.
So
Break it up.
It's time.
to
It's
my
time.
joy, the Clippers got eliminated in the first round, which I love. Stay at the bottom, you bottom feeders.
Honestly, Ernest, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. It don't feel like a parade or a celebration like it did in 2020.
No, because you know why? We're over it now.
Yeah, exactly.
We know what you guys are.
Right.
We know we're expected of them.
I
So
think
it's
also
not like,
I think also because PG and Kawhi didn't play, so I guess like we all kind of knew.
and
but
shout
then
out to
again-
Russell Westbrook, like for real.
Oh yeah.
Like, no,
He revamped
seriously.
He
No,
revived
no.
his career.
Shout out to Russell Westbrook.
Salute.
To all the
Disrespect.
Russ haters,
Salute.
I guess
Salute.
that's out there,
Like,
and
come
the
on,
Russ.
y'all.
So two things. I want to get this clear because
I
people
know
be in
some
my
Russ haters
mentions.
watching this right now.
People be in my
Wow.
mentions on my people be in my mentions on Twitter
Haters.
about Russ because I'm a huge Laker fan, and I was one of the people that believed that we needed to trade Russ, and that's not doing part to the player that he is. It was doing part to the contract, and we couldn't get nothing else to surround our team to get better. But now, what I will say is though, it just didn't fit. All right, like we got to leave it in the past. It did not fit. The roster was very, very trash last
So we're
season.
asking Russ to do more with what we currently have.
Exactly.
I said that trade wasn't going to work when it happened because they had.
So
no
did
shooters.
I.
I said
did I.
Carmelo Anthony's not when they made that trade. Carmelo Anthony and LeBron James were their statistically best 3-point shooters on the team. If that's your best 3-point shooters on your team, you're not going to win.
Right,
you're not going to win.
And then on top of that,
and they were a good defensive team. By the way,
they were a very good defensive team. Anthony Davis only played 46 games.
He shot horrible from three too.
They could have played all 82. They wasn't winning no games with that. With no 3-point shooter.
But I will say they wouldn't. The record would have been better if all three of them were healthy throughout the year. Because again, sometimes talent just trumps whatever the other team has, right?
Yeah, but every team in the NBA got talent on the West, so you don't have. You got to have enough shooting to keep up with that.
But what I'm saying is though, like that, by nature, I just believe they would have been better if all three of them were healthy. But also at the same time, you cannot expect Russ to be successful if he's playing with DeAndre Jordan. Okay, that was our starting center. People forget about that. When you're playing with when you're playing with Avery Bradley, when you're playing with DJ Augustine, when you're playing with Nick Collison, not Nick Collison. What's Darren Collison that came off the street. Like you can't expect that. Like literally, Frank Vogel ran a lineup. He ran a lineup. This is when AD was hurt. He ran a lineup of LeBron at the freaking 5, Melo at the 4. The 3 was Russell Westbrook. The 2 was DJ Augustine, and the 1 was Avery Bradley. However you want to look at it, doesn't matter.
Avery Bradley was the best decision in all the players he played. At least he could shoot.
That was the 5.
Even then,
that was the 5 he was trotting out there, bro. And like we can't forget that. Also, don't forget, we also had Isaiah freaking Thomas on the team. We signed him too.
Oh yeah.
So like, we gotta stop. We gotta stop. There was so much turmoil. Frank Vogel was on his way out. It just didn't work. Like guys were hurt. So Russ, yes, did Russ play bad by his own standard? Yes, he did. That is his fault. But also, let's not say the reason the Lakers were not successful was because of him, because it was not. It was not. Everyone deserves blame. Now, we've gotten past that. On to the Clippers versus the Suns. With PG being out, I personally thought, for one, why show the videos if you're not healthy? But anyway, if PG was going to be out, I felt like maybe the Clippers had a chance to at least push it to like 6 because Kawhi just looked like
you couldn't touch him.
Yeah, like the best player in the league at that point.
Couldn't touch him.
He was unguardable.
Yeah, MJ fade away. You couldn't touch him.
And I've always been suspect ever since the trade went down between the Nets and the Suns. I felt that the depth of the Suns is going to catch up with them as the longer the playoffs get, because you cannot. To me, it is not sustainable to play Kevin Durant and Devin Booker 38 to 40 something minutes a night to ensure you get a win in a long, grueling.
But
Unless if it's
then-
blowouts, unless if they
but-
blowing teams out.
But
Right.
then again, though, like I thought about that, and I'm just like, no way. Like credit to the Clippers bench and depth. You know, like Terrence Mann had a great series.
Norman Powell dropped 42.
Norman Powell, you
He
know,
dropped
and
42 in game 4.
Of course, Russ, you know.
No, game 3.
Zubac, Mason
Right.
Plumlee, like they all stepped up. You know, obviously it wasn't like a big enough step for them to get a W. Because remember, those games were close. Remember, game 5? They came within a basket of tying the game, and then Russ missed the layup, and then everything just went downhill. But they definitely like showed that they was able to compete. It's just that the Phoenix Suns had too much firepower. Like that game in LA where Chris Paul hit that shot over the backboard, like can't do nothing about that. And then you got KD coming down hitting threes, Devin Booker making layups, and with KD and D Book being on the same team, I feel like D Book is averaged like 35 that series because so much of the attention is on KD. D Book has that space to do what he wants to do, to just go crazy, you know. Whereas if PG and Kawhi was healthy, I wouldn't say that's not going to get shut down, but there's going to be some resistance.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
I say Steve Ballmer, break it up, man. The juice is not worth the squeeze.
So here's
He worried about his new arena.
But here's the thing. I don't think
worried about his new arena.
Bro, hear me out. With the new CBA that's kicking in right after the finals, because there are a second apron tax team, the Clippers will not have access to the tax mid-level exception. They will not have access throughout the year to sign buyout guys. So with the new arena come on the horizon after next season, they have to have an attraction. Kawhi and PG
the attraction don't play. They don't play.
Well,
what's the attraction?
but here's the thing: would you rather
why.
have them on the roster, or would you rather have them not on the roster and not have anything? Because what you're gonna get for Kawhi and PG right now is really it's gonna be nothing in comparison to who they are as players.
True, but this is what I would say. I agree with everything you said. They have a good coach right now, which they look like they're driving Toronto out of it. They're driving him out of there. They're driving him out of there. So
Ty Lue might be on the Lakers coaching side.
If you want to keep T. Lue, I feel like T. Lue's value is higher than their value right now. Why? I agree with the new arena aspect. If they were just aging off players, they were just playing, but they wasn't playing at the high level, or if they even played enough games, I'd have been like, oh yeah, keep it, new arena. But they're not even able to give you the product that you want. They're not even selling the jerseys right now.
But what I'm saying to you, bro, is that I hear you. It's just that now, what's the value you're gonna get for Kawhi and Paul George?
Okay, that's what I say. I say go trade these guys to some no-level teams where you can bring in a little value, get some draft picks. Do an OKC. OKC did a soft, quick reboot. I would trade.
Soft?
Yeah, it was kind of soft because they made the playoffs the first year they made the trade when they traded Westbrook, and then they went two years without a playoff. They kept Shea. They got Giddey. They got some good players out of that. So you could do the same thing. I say you trade Kawhi, Washington, bring in Kuzma back to LA. That's gonna still take his rivalry. Kuzma's in LA. He's the favorite.
So
you get some of their draft picks in Washington.
What?
Listen to my logic. It sounds crazy, but then it'll make sense. Washington takes on the risk. They can't even afford to really bring back Westbrook, so let Westbrook go to Washington with them. Give Washington that headache. See if they can make a championship run over there. You trade PG for some draft picks, and you trade PG for some draft picks and a young semi-star player to another team, and then you just start over with that in a fresh arena with fresh talent, and you might be able to get a good draft pick here and there in the mix of that.
So I'm going to debunk everything you just said because the caveat to that is Kawhi Leonard is entering the last year of his contract. So is Paul George. So you can say all you want, hey, trade.
So you're going to re-sign him?
But here's the thing. You don't have to. You could trade me, and I could just tell whatever team try to trade me to, hey, I ain't staying there.
That's fine. But are you going to resign him?
But my thing is, the Clippers are stuck. They're stuck because
I'd rather not be.
But if you decide to try to trade them, and that team that's willing to take on Kawhi, that's one never healthy at this point in his career, and says, hey, if you trade me, I am not going to resign here. I'm not going to give up no assets, no good players for a rental. On top of that, that rental may not play 50 games.
I know you're desperate right now, so yeah.
So it's like at the same time, the Clippers are playing behind the 8 ball because Kawhi has the chips in his corner.
I'll give you the advantage. I'll give you the exception of that. Look what the Raptors did. They knew they having him on a 1-year lease. That's why I said Washington. What you gonna do with Bradley Beal anyway? I mean,
Kawhi Leonard is not the same guy from 2019.
I agree with that, but they'll give it a chance. They're a bad franchise. They're going to continue to be a bad franchise. Some teams take gambles.
Not everybody's Masai Ujiri, and I don't know.
That was a good gamble for Toronto. They got their one only championship. So
listen, I think it worked out in the long run. I think they're stuck with those two guys.
I wouldn't do it.
Westbrook, I don't think Westbrook's going to come back. Only reason why I say that is because I think they don't have the money to that they can only offer him like $3 million, or something like that. So because they don't have any cap space, and they don't have his bird rights. So if like I just don't think Westbrook's going to say that. I think Miami or another team will offer him a little bit more money because he's outplayed his contract or his expectation of what that contract was going to look like. Because everyone was talking about a vet minimum or mid-level or whatever.
If he stays in LA, it's because he wants to.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Because he really wants to.
And on the Suns front, I mean, listen, KD and Devin Booker has been playing phenomenal. Oh my God, phenomenal. And Devin Booker's been on the tear. And it's clear because KD's been on this team. It's helped Devin Booker to just unleash because you can't key in on one guy anymore. But I have a huge concern about the Suns going forward.
That depth.
Because
Josh, that depth.
Because
we talk about that depth.
Not only the depth that they don't have, are we certain that they can rely on DeAndre Ayton? Are we certain that they can rely on the health of Chris Paul? History has shown every year so far that Chris Paul has made a deep playoff run since 2017. He's been hurt.
Even before that.
Right, even before that. Right? So, and do you believe in campaign being your starting point guard in the conference finals? Absolutely not. So, I don't know, man. They advanced. I think they got lucky because of injuries. And it's funny, like that's how they got lucky in 2021. But kudos to Phoenix for taking care of business. They played the Denver Nuggets, and I think the buck stops there. But going on to the next series, the infamous Lakers versus Memphis Grizzlies, the 2 seed versus the playing 7 seed. I just want to say, John Morant.
Yo, we won't get copyrighted for this, right?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Damn.
Maybe. He'll be all right.
So with that being said,
it's a
Grizzlies.
It's a parade in my city, yeah.
It's a parade in our city, yeah. No, we don't do parades after the first round, John Morant. So we're gonna wait till we hit.
The job's not finished.
16 wins. The job is not finished.
What
a series! I had originally picked the Lakers in 6. So my prediction was correct. I felt that this was the best matchup, given the fact that there was no Steven Adams, there was no Brandon Clark, and I always felt the Grizzlies were playing 4-on-5 on offense because of Dylan Brooks.
And Dylan Brooks shot them out the series.
Yes, he did.
Right.
And I thought Anthony Davis was going to dominate this series as he has. In moments, but I would say more often than not he has on a defensive end. He's been the best player in the NBA right now. Has the league leading blocks in the playoffs right now. I think with 20 or 21. A plus 96 of defensive rating. Probably after last night, probably over 100 defensive rating. Outside of game 2 and game 5, Anthony Davis has been all world. LeBron outside of game 5, he's been again, the crown goat as well as people may say. But yeah, Austin Reeves, can't say enough about him showing up and showing out.
Playing amazing.
Yes, playing amazing. Rui Hachimura, man, baby Kawhi Leonard, I like to call him. He has played really well.
Laker fans, boy, I tell you.
D'Angelo Russell
showed up last game. Showed up in the last game.
Listen, I need Kyrie Irving to show up to every playoff game, so that way D'Angelo Russell plays like that. Okay. We all know why he played the way he played last night because
his job was on the line. He said, "That's my replacement." My replacement. Oh, y'all crazy.
He's like, my replacement just showed up. Yeah,
Not again. Not again.
Not again. Right? This is my money, Kyrie.
First Brooklyn, now LA. Damn.
Not again.
Right.
Not again.
And,
nigga, traumatized, started blanking up.
John Morant, obviously, dealing with the hand injury. I just personally think, listen, John Morant's a dog. He fought. He played through that injury. I can't give more credit to him. Like he really tried to will his team. But I just think just the season as a whole mentally's been tough for the Grizzlies. With all the injuries, and then like them announcing Luke Kennard was out with the shoulder injury. I was like, yeah, they're gonna mail it in tonight. They're gonna call it a season. It is what it is.
Another team that need a vet, just like the Hawks. They got the same issue.
Yes.
They just signed Carmelo Anthony,
and I think their issue is a little bit more bigger.
It's
than
crazy
what the Hawks is.
that Dylan Brooks was talking bad about Carmelo Anthony for you to even say that. That's crazy.
I'm gonna tell you why they should start Carmelo Anthony. He's the only player that they will respect. They don't respect.
Dylan Brooks said
he don't count.
Right.
He was talking crazy about LeBron, and they pulled up his tweets about being a LeBron fan. He's literally playing into the character of the villain, like meaning like it's competition. I don't even believe his.
I don't think he's going to return on the Grizzlies next season. He's an unrestricted free agent. He's an unrestricted free agent.
But
I think I can see him going to Houston.
I feel like they don't have no choice but to bring him back. He's their best defender.
No. They're gonna shuffle that roster.
I think they're gonna move some stuff around.
They're gonna have to.
He literally shot them out the series.
In the end, he did more harm to them.
Right.
And that looked like Draymond would be correct if they don't go with him.
That podcast is going to be great, but they gotta. We'll get to that series. They gotta worry.
But it's going to do two things. It's going to make them either re-sign him or not re-sign him because of what Draymond said. So it's like they might not. They're going to just probably go gung ho with it. I say re-sign him. He's the edge that they need. He talks trash, but he's the edge that they need. The problem is they don't have a vet to settle them.
Yeah,
they need a Carmelo Anthony, somebody who's been there. But if you needed to use him, you could use him. But if you don't use him, he's there to coach on the bench, get them under control. Because the problem is they're a confidence-based team. So when their morale's high, it's high. But then you got to think about when things are not looking good. What players have been there that you could look to like, oh, this is nothing. We can come back from this run.
I don't know about Melo.
He's the perfect guy. Melo on the team, that gun thing never happens.
Because you're right, but I just think Melo just wants to hoop. That's just what I get from Melo. Like I just can't. I just can't see Melo like controlling the locker room. Like being a vet, yes, but I just see Melo just kind of that KD mindset. I just want to go out and hoop.
The reason why he'll be able to control the locker room because he played with Adams at OKC. They have familiarity. John Morant
is Adams is the only vet, and they're not listening to him.
They're not really listening. Adams is on the court. Adams is an on the court vet. They need an off the court vet.
Yeah,
he's a bruiser.
And if they have to play him, he could give you something. He's still capable of giving you something.
No, of course.
So, because you don't need him to play defense. They got a lot of defense on the team. So now you just go in there to Melo, be you, but also kind of groom this guy to be the next superstar player because he's been in that shoes. He's been the player that's been kind of outcast. Remember how they looked at the Denver Nuggets when they had all the tattoos? He's literally been in his shoes. And honestly, what more hype because he had to balance it out against LeBron James. Like they were paired together half their career. So, and to be the face of the career. But you see what he said in that press conference the other day. He said the person that y'all want to be the face of the NBA. He kind of like slighted that. So that just shows you that's something he wanted to say with a Carmelo Anthony there. It's like. I get what you're saying. Melo may not be necessarily the right fit as a player, but as a personality, it more matters. They have the players to win. They don't have the personality to keep them in check, keep them around. That's why I said Yeah, they might shake up the roster a little bit, but I keep Dylan Brooks. I keep Baines. I keep the core of the young.
Would you keep Dylan Brooks if you have a chance to get OG Anunoby though?
Oh no, give me OG.
Okay,
well, right there.
just saying.
Mhm.
Sorry,
Yeah.
come on, OG.
Remember,
If they have OG Anunoby, I think
He's a
the
better
series may
version
be
of
different.
He's a better version of Brooks.
Remember,
But the
they
problem
were-
with OG,
No, you was right the first time.
Brooks.
and remember they were trying to
You was right the first time.
No, I don't
they
do
was trying to-
name standards.
and remember they was trying to
Wait, but what about the
there's-
Nets? Y'all don't want Dylan Brooks? 4 picks, Dylan Brooks for Mikal Bridges.
We got wings. We good over here, baby. We need a top 30 player. We don't need another top 100. We good. Listen, if we had, I ain't gonna lie, I would have took Brooks when we had KD and Kyrie. Yeah, I would have took him with that roster, but not this roster. No. Dame, you can come over here. You know, I'm cool with that. Allegedly, they were saying Cat, he can come over here. Him with Dame, but not Cat by himself. Not Cat by himself. Cat with Dame, I'm cool. Cat by himself, you stay your dumb ass in Minnesota. Your dumb ass in Minnesota, boy.
But yeah, you know, Anthony Davis dominated the Defensive Player of the Year.
He did.
Jaren Jackson, and
he played well though. Jaren Jackson.
He did. Shout out to him. He had a great year. Defensive Player of the Year, well deserved, by the way. But he was
the most constant player for that team the whole season.
Yes,
he was the most consistent.
But it was a clear gap defensively between AD and JJ.
True.
And yeah, the Lakers move on. They're the second team to come out the play-in to win a series ever.
Congratulations.
And now we go on to face the winner of this next series we're about to talk about, because that first round series has yet to be decided.
Like the beam
between the Sacramento Kings and the
Like
Golden
the
State Warriors.
Let's go, Steph.
like the beam.
Steph's my favorite player, y'all.
I'm concerned about the Warriors, man.
I don't like to bet against championship caliber teams, but I am very, very concerned about
like the beam.
Warriors. The road games are not a fluke. That is real.
I said it.
And
they did pull off one though.
They pulled off one.
Yeah, the game 5.
They pulled off one,
and they played great like champions in that game. But the last game they played.
Draymond was the turning point of that game.
Yes,
he was attacking. He was driving.
The thing is,
looked like old Draymond.
The thing is now. The thing is now you have a day in between games. Malik Monk said this during a press conference last night. We started to notice that these guys' legs were tired. So we started pushing the pace.
Run them out.
Yep.
We started pushing the pace.
You know what's crazy? I seen a sign of this happen last year with Golden State with when they went against the Grizzlies. Yes. They're starting to get. They're used to being the younger, spry team.
They're up in age now.
Now it's starting to come back. Because you heard their coach Brown talking about running. You never heard teams run on Golden State before. They usually try to slow it down. But it showed because Steph Curry. Yeah. He was kind of the reason why they lost that game last night.
You got the perfect player to do it.
Yep.
You got De'Aaron Fox, the perfect player to run them out.
Yeah.
Run them out. And then watching the game yesterday, in game 6, huge shout out to just the adjustments that Mike Brown had made.
Definitely.
With especially with Sabonis getting into early foul trouble. They was beating him up.
They were beating up Sabonis.
He's playing like Cat Jr. though. He's playing stupid.
They was beating him up. But shout out to Mike Brown for making the right adjustments, getting Trey Lyles in there. Who had
with his shooting.
With his shooting. A huge boost off the bench. Terrence Davis as well. He fouled out the game, but he was able to produce really well as well. Keegan Murray had a hot start in the first half, 4 threes. Right. Malik Monk.
Playing amazing.
He's been up and down this entire series. I wanted to.
We couldn't though. We couldn't.
I wanted to.
He outplayed. We signed him on a vet minimum last season. He outplayed that contract because he played phenomenal for us last year.
He was the third best player, second best player of the team.
Yeah. And some nights he was the best player for us.
He played amazing.
And he outplayed that contract. We couldn't afford because again, this is why I say disclaimer. The reason why we needed to trade Russ is because of the contracts. You're not going to trade Anthony Davis and you're not going to trade LeBron. So Russ made the third most. Well, he was the most expensive contract on the team, $47 million. So we couldn't retain Monk higher than the vet minimum because Sacramento was able to offer him more money and he was able to play with his friend from college.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but just shout out to Mike Brown for making the right adjustments and just staying composed. Like being in a game 6 in that situation, you're away. You're in one of the loudest arenas in the building, championship. They're the defending champ. So
Closeout
just
game too.
closeout
Yeah,
game
elimination
and
game.
and just staying composed. Not letting the Warriors run get to them, not letting the crowd get into it. Just like keeping their foot down, staying 10 toes down on that game. So just
Right.
shout out to the Sacramento Queens, but like the beam.
Oh Lord.
No, we're not liking the beam, man.
Respect,
It's
Like
about,
the-
it's
like
about
the
the
beam.
Bay Area, man. Stop
Like-
hating on
like the
Steph.
beam.
Nah, listen.
Like the
Hating on
beam.
Steph,
Here,
man.
I think
We need a Kings Lakers for
Nah,
old
we
time's
need a
sake.
we need a King.
That.
We need a
need
Lakers.
Vlade
we
Divac.
I
We
need-
need Mike Bibby.
GSW
we need
versus the
Turkoglu.
Lakers.
nah.
We need
Look,
Chris
LeBron.
Webber.
No,
We need all of them.
LeBron.
We need all of them in there.
I need
LeBron
Kings
versus
Lakers.
Steph.
I need
I
Kings
need Kings
Lakers.
Lakers.
I need
Kings
Kings
man.
Lakers.
I need
Old time
LeBron
sake.
versus
Steph-
Steph one more
We need
time.
the Arco
Nah,
Arena.
they
before
ran
they
its
both
course.
retire.
They ran.
Before they
it's
retire,
ran its
Yup,
one
course.
it's
last
over.
time.
Ran its
It's
course.
over.
It ran its
Yo,
course.
remember what I said in the chat yesterday? Steph Curry getting gray hairs. His time is almost up. Let's
Nah,
get it.
man.
Let's
Yeah.
get
He's
it.
been
I
hating on.
think-
Listen, you see how Armani started almost 17 years. He's
Let's
been hating
get
on
it.
Steph for
Listen.
that whole time.
Let's
Like
get
he
it.
ain't great.
He out the league. He about to be out the league.
Nah,
Let's
my
get
boy.
it.
One last
about to
time, him and
retire. Let's
LeBron.
get it.
Nobody want to see that Sacramento. Even though my boy Lundy might be watching this, he's a Sacramento
Listen,
fan.
I think
Shout out to
the,
them.
I think tomorrow the Kings blow them out to end the series.
I
think
don't
the
know
Blink-
about a blowout.
Now, bro,
Blowout?
Nah,
These guys
nah,
are some champions, man.
I just
The
think
disrespect.
Nah,
Listen, as much as
to me,
I can't stand Golden State, bro.
You
I'm
can't.
not.
Damn,
I'm
Golden State
blowout.
hating here.
Blowout.
nah, here's my thing though.
I
Here's
don't
my thing
know
though.
about
I think the Kings smell blood, man. It's like if you win that type of game elimination by 20 in Golden State, knowing that. And Mike
said
Brown
that-
is like he's telling them, yo,
I think
they
you're
are tired.
I think
you
you're
understand.
I know the
underestimating the
championship-
moment.
People
know
said
the-
the same thing the other way
I know
when
the
they were when
championship
Golden State got
experience
that
for the
one.
Warriors. But here's the thing, though: the others for the Warriors, they have not stepped up all this series.
That's not
Jordan
true.
Poole, MIA,
He hasn't. Looney has been balling.
Looney, yes.
Draymond's been
I'm talking
balling.
about- I'm talking about Moody, Jordan Poole. He's been MIA. And
Not
the
true.
Others.
Not true. Last game he was in Miami, but he had 17 the game before that in the road win. And then in all the wins they have had, he's had at least 15
And
points.
plus, I think the crowd's going to be. I think the crowd in Sacramento has been
gonna be crazy.
fantastic
It's gonna be
all series
crazy.
long.
It's
They're
gonna
going to be in overdrive. So
I think
the
they should
Beam.
play. I think they should play Kaminga or Iguodala in this.
Oh,
Iguodala's hurt.
Nah,
Oh,
they
he's hurt.
can't
He's
play.
hurt.
Yeah,
He's
they
hurt.
can't play.
No, they can't play.
Yo, they gonna
Just
run
to
him
shake it
out
up.
the gym.
Just
They
no,
gonna run him out the gym.
no. Just to shake up the lineup to throw him off a little bit. They'll play him,
Nah.
man, and see if it works. That's what I think. That was the adjustment they should have made yesterday. When you didn't see energy coming out of some of the the guys they were running, you should have thrown him in there. Why not? Steve Kerr's known for shaking it up and throwing a guy out there that's ready to. That's what happened with the Iguodala thing in the Cleveland series.
But
In the
the thing
Cleveland
is-
series, they threw
Well,
him
the
out
thing is,
there.
and I said this earlier, the Warriors don't have the personnel. Like they don't have the
no.
legs like they used to do. You know what I'm
They
saying?
should have
So
kept
you was
Otto Porter.
you was able to You was able to throw an Otto Porter out there. You was able to throw a Sean Livingston out there, and like
Yeah.
for 4 or 5 minutes of the game, Sean Livingston was able to shake things up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because he was a
Yeah.
tall guard, can rebound, can pass, can hit
They're a
the
little
mid-range
short on
jump
the.
shot.
They're a little short on the depth, even though
And then-
DiVincenzo been playing pretty solid.
Right, and then now you got these new guys in Kaminga and Moody, and who is getting inconsistent minutes all year. You're asking them to play key moments, key minutes in the playoffs, and they can't keep up. The Kings see that and they see food.
Yeah, but the thing is, they got them harder champions. They got them
No,
veterans.
of course.
Yeah,
But they old.
Yeah.
They old.
Yeah,
Get them out of
yeah,
here.
They're getting up there.
Right?
They're getting up there.
It's crazy. The Lakers got the oldest player in the league on their team. Talking about everybody else old, and we see what happened when somebody said a player was old, and what happened? They got them out of here. Got them young boys out of here. Pack 'em up.
I do think though.
I poke Bears.
I do
poke
think
Bears.
Sacramento is way more mature than
They are
Memphis.
Yeah.
They're a lot.
Which
They're
is
a lot
crazy,
more
right?
disciplined too. Yeah, which is crazy.
because they've been doing this long.
And I, also speaking of the Kings and the Grizzlies, I think John Morant needs to look at De'Aaron Fox's game and look at what he does with his speed.
That
And
was crazy.
you know what I mean? Like
He
seen the
needs a
tweet.
jumper. He needs a jumper ASAP.
I seen a tweet actually earlier today. Like, John Morant is looking at De'Aaron Fox and thinking that's who he should have been like. Especially being in the league for a couple of years. Because like when De'Aaron Fox first came in the league, we looked at him as like a John Wall, like a Russell Westbrook, like running out of control. But then, I was able
You got
to
a
turn
jumper
on,
better.
right, exactly. And then there was the comparison. Who was better, him or Lonzo? They came out in the same draft together.
Mhm.
So we thought we won that deal because of the type of player that we knew Lonzo could be, right? Unfortunately, injuries, the real that, we had a bigger plan in
Hey
mind.
man, listen. Thank you, Lonzo, for your services. You have given us Anthony Davis, sir. Thank you.
But De'Aaron Fox was able to, like, in those dog years, was able to, like, you know what? Let me work on my craft. Because remember, he wanted out. De'Aaron Fox wanted out a couple years ago,
I don't blame him.
I don't blame him either. He stuck with the grind, and worked on the jump shot, and now he's just lethal. He's the clutchest player in the league for this season. Who would have thought?
That's true. I wouldn't have thought that.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Hey, listen. The Warriors are in a heap of trouble.
In trouble. They're in
For
trouble.
Sure. They're in trouble.
Hey,
I just.
They're not trash, but put some respect. Put some respect.
Hey,
Let's go Golden State. Golden State is 7.
Like
personally,
I
I don't care who we face. I
would rather the Kings.
I would rather the Kings. Yes.
Y'all don't want that GS trouble.
I ain't gonna hold you for.
Oh no, but I want Golden State.
Y'all don't want that.
I want Golden State.
You think D'Lo getting exposed now? Was getting exposed by Ja? Don't let that Steph do it.
Curry's gonna get exposed.
AD D'Lo getting eating in that series.
They getting D'Lo off that court. They getting D'Lo off that court. They getting D'Lo off that court. They gonna pull him.
80
Schroeder is gonna get pulled. They're gonna have to pull. They're gonna have to pull up.
Schroeder will actually have a great series in that matchup.
Now I don't know Clay. Maybe on pool.
All he gonna do is run around and chase him.
That's a lot. That's a lot of chasing. That's what people be saying. We're gonna do chase him. That's the problem. People forget that's a lot of running.
Dennis could do it. Dennis could do it.
And then get buckets back.
He don't have to.
Yes, you do. Everybody has to help when it's Golden State.
Everybody
has to chip in.
Everybody
has to chip in.
Let me tell you something.
Look at what the Kings doing. The whole team is chipping in to get this win. Ain't one guy.
That's the Kings.
Team.
We have the King. There's a difference.
Even when he got his, hold on. Even when the King got his Golden State, everybody chipped in.
LeBron plays at his best when he's playing against Golden State. I personally think LeBron wants Golden State.
I think so too.
I think he wants Golden State because I think he knows.
Get his revenge.
Yeah.
For the last time.
Get him out.
There's an open wound still there.
Yeah.
But the difference is when he plays his best, but even then, when the time Cleveland won, everybody chipped in. You can't go against Golden State with only AD maybe chipping in, only D'Lo baby chipping in, maybe LeBron's on LeBron. But everybody got to chip in. Everybody got to chip in. And if you don't think that's the case, then you're a fool and you're gonna lose in 5.
Okay. I mean,
if everybody chip in, the Lakers can win that series.
Ain't no could. We will.
We're gonna win. Yeah.
We will go to that series.
Let's go Golden State.
I like the matchup. I like the matchup. They can't touch us. Man. For my sanity, it's gonna be a headache because Harry, you know how I feel about Curry. You feel me? But
you know how I feel about him too. I love him. Great player. Amazing. But I'm with Draymond when he said he's the GOAT. I'm like, oh, you know what, Draymond? I don't never agree with you, but I'm gonna agree with you right now, Draymond. Go ahead.
And watch. By next week,
actually, I agree with Draymond sometimes.
By next week, he'll be on this pod talking about how great LeBron James is. How he's the GOAT. So
who, me? I respect LeBron.
No, I'm saying Draymond.
Oh no, you know he loves.
You know he a clutch merchant.
But he respects LeBron too, so it's cool.
I
played
just
against
think,
both. Play with one.
I think the Lakers are bigger, so it will disrupt Golden State a lot. They're gonna have to shoot a shit ton of threes,
and Looney's gonna have to.
That's what they do. That's what they do already.
Looney's gonna have to.
Golden State's small.
No,
way too small.
I'm talking about they shoot a lot of threes. They already shoot a lot of threes.
Yeah, what I'm saying is they're not going to get nothing in the paint. They're going to those rebounds,
those backdoor cuts, and
those rebounds, those second chance.
They stretching that offense out, man.
The second chance scoring that they're getting now.
They're not getting
that against the Lakers.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. You can pull up the stats. For some reason, Anthony Davis never plays good against Draymond, though. I don't know why. Draymond, for some reason, is the guy that always gets to him. So that would be the case if you're just looking at the stat wise. But if you're looking at the game, he never has a good series like that. Well, he had a couple of he has some good series games, but he doesn't play good against Draymond. So that goes out of the window. Then he going to stay going 4 out.
He averages 25, 12, and 3
misleading
against the Warriors.
Misleading.
How is it misleading?
I'm gonna tell you this.
The last matchup,
they lost every time. When he was
this year, This year, AD
Right.
averages
We
20.
beat them in a 3-1 series.
Yes, we beat them
No, no.
3-1 this year.
I'm talking about in the playoffs, though. I'm talking about in the playoffs. When they played, when he was on his teams in the respective playoffs,
The
he never
Pelicans.
played good.
Come on, bro.
He was
You
the
had
mismatch.
Pelicans versus
Draymond was
that
like,
juggernaut.
It was him and Drew Holiday, and that was
Yeah,
it.
right.
Come on.
versus KD.
No. Hold
It was him
on.
and Drew
Hold
Holiday.
on. I don't want to.
man.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that Drew Holiday slander. Why? Because when Anthony Davis
Drew
won
Holiday
with him,
gonna get slander.
no, he played bad in that series. But I'm talking about this. What I mean by the slander is
Mhm.
people say, "Oh, look who he played with," and then somebody that they said at one point on ESPN. I'm not saying you guys. On ESPN, they said Anthony Davis was better than Giannis, and Anthony Davis won with the same player that he couldn't win with. So I don't want to hear that. You can't use that as excuse.
Milwaukee had a better supporting cast than the Pelicans. I don't want to hear that.
I don't want to go with that.
And they had a better coach.
I'm just talking about this.
Steve Gundy was the coach.
Listen, Anthony Davis played twice in the playoffs in his whole career, bro. Before going to the Lakers.
Stop. We gotta stop. This context and everything.
It's context. He's always hurt. Yes, you see him. You better, get him a sponsorship. Get him a sponsorship. He's not always hurt.
Yeah, that's a misconception. He's not always hurt.
This guy, did he hurt his ankle going up in the air recently? Like, what's going on? This is a
misconception. It's a misconception.
Listen, man, he's a great player, but I think this is a good series for Golden State if they get them. I think y'all better against the Kings if y'all get them.
I think we match up against anybody.
I like that.
But yeah, so
I like that.
Well, now we've gone through all the playoff recap, and I know it was long, but we haven't been on for a minute, so we had to get through all the games. Let's go to our predictions, right? Well, since we're in the West, we'll start with the West. You got Phoenix versus Denver. Right now they're down, and they're killing them on the glass. Denver's killing Phoenix on the glass right now. I personally, I have okay. My basketball mind says it's going to be the Nuggets that beats them in 6 games.
That's how I feel too.
Because I just feel like, again, the depth is not strong enough. You can't rely. It's not sustainable to play those guys 40 minutes. Now I'm talking about those guys. I'm talking about Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. But personally, from my own trolling, shit talking, all that stuff with basketball, I want LeBron. I want my Lakers to go through Golden State, and I want them to go through Phoenix, and I want them to go through Boston. That's how I want it to go. But it won't get to that. I think Denver will win in 6 games, and Denver will wind up in the conference finals. And it doesn't matter who it is between Sacramento or Golden State. I think the Lakers will evidently win. If it's against Golden State, I think Golden State pushes them to 7, and Lakers win in 7. And if it's against Sacramento, I think the Lakers beat them in 6. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that for now. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay. I think if it's I think I agree with you with the Nuggets series. My basketball mind says the Nuggets are gonna win this, but the talent level, I think the Phoenix might be able to pull it out. But, so if the Phoenix was to win it, I think they're probably winning 7. If the Nuggets win, I think they win in 6. If Golden State goes to the next round, I think Golden State in 7 against the Lakers. If it's the Kings, I think it's the Lakers and 7 against them.
Okay.
So I like Nuggets in 6. I just think they got a little bit more of a bench than the Suns. I think I'm just worried about the Suns wearing down their big stars. Especially if the series goes longer. KD, Booker, Chris Paul gonna play heavy minutes. Who's gonna come off the bench? Literally, they got who's coming off the bench? We really don't know. Terrence Ross, campaign.
That's
Josh
it.
starting. So I just don't see it. And plus, I don't trust DeAndre Ayton against Jokic. So
DeAndre Ayton, Loki don't want to be there, I think, too. So that's a whole nother.
So I like the Nuggets in 6. As far as the other series, I like the Lakers in both 6 over the Kings or the Warriors. I just think the Lakers, they're on the mission, and I think they're sensing something. Like they're on this run from the end of the season. From the trade deadline, they got the reinforcements. They played well down the stretch into the tournament.
They lead the league in defense right now. Number one defense, number one in rebounding, number one in blocks, number one in defensive efficiency. Everything, every defensive metric right now you can think of, they are number one right
Yeah,
now.
so I think
Right.
so. I like them both. I like them against either the Kings or the Warriors, and I like Nuggets, Lakers conference finals. Then I'm just gonna leave it there for now.
Right.
Um, for me, Suns and Nuggets. I want to say Phoenix, but like since the KD D book combo is still relatively new, um, we've seen how it can hurt them sometimes, especially even though they was able to finish off the Clippers in 5. We was able to see how
They
it
struggled.
how they struggled in game 1, especially with an aggressive team like being willed by a Russell Westbrook. Not saying there's a Russell Westbrook on this Nuggets team, but the Nuggets team, this combo of Jamal Murray and Jokic has been with each other for a very
Yeah.
long time.
Long
So,
chemistry, so that matters.
right, long chemistry. Not saying I can't say that the Nuggets bench is it's better, but it's not better by far. And like we just mentioned, running campaign, running Landry Shamet, Josh Okogie, like these dudes ain't gonna get it done against the Nuggets.
Right.
So if anything, I want to say the Suns at 7, but I got Nuggets at 7. It go either way. Um, for Lakers and whoever we play, hopefully it's the Kings because the Warriors are ass. 6 in both,
Let me guess, Lakers.
of course, man. And I would really love if it was 5. If it was 5 against the Warriors, I would love that. I would love that. I think that will put the cap on my villain story for Stephen
Okay.
Curry.
So I got a question. I know you said Lakers in 6, right? Either way, but are you talking with your heart, or are you just talking with, or you just talking with, or just talking with your your
Not
basketball knowledge?
just with the just honestly with the basketball knowledge. I know the Kings are we had a tough time with the Kings this season,
Right.
and there was some times where we played the Kings, and I was just
That
like,
was
yo,
before the trade.
and
Right.
true, and I was just like, yo, we get smoked by the Kings, but the Kings is nothing to mess with.
Right.
Oh no,
And
they no slouch.
right,
Yeah.
and we're seeing this right now. Like I just mentioned, like who would have thought that De'Aaron Fox would be the clutchest player in the league?
Right,
Like
right.
I
and
also want to say too though, real quick, the reason being I feel confident about the Lakers beating one of these teams. Golden State and Sacramento are like literally taking skin off each other. Like they're beating each other up in this series, and
Yeah.
I don't know if that. I don't think. Well, I think that matchup and that beating that both teams have taken in this series is evidently going to show against another physical team in the Lakers. The Lakers are very physical, so
right.
I think that's one of the main reasons why I think the Lakers have the edge because they have this rest and the series
Fair.
that these two guys are playing against each other
That's fair.
it's tough.
I think
Right.
the Sacramento Kings are getting the worst of the beating. That's why I said the Lakers will probably win. I feel like Golden State are, for the most part, are kind of moving semi unscathed out of it of the physical part of it, but they're definitely being worn down also. So
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, just go ahead.
No, go ahead, Amari. I was going to move on to the Eastern Conference.
No, go ahead. Let's go to these. Yeah. Let's go to these.
So in the East, we got Miami and New York, and Boston and Philly. I have Boston winning the series, probably in 5, due to Joel Embiid not being there,
Which is a shame because this could actually be a really good one.
Yeah.
It's probably
This
a sweep right now.
Yeah. So Joel Embiid, and the reason why I'm giving them a gentleman's sweep because I feel like Philly could get one at home. I think they can get one without Joel at home. Hopefully, if Joel is healthy by game 3, Shams Charania have reported that
the injuries might more be serious than that.
Right. So the injury is more serious than a grade 1 LCL sprain. And he's currently doubtful for game 1. And it says he has been able to do some individual spot up shooting the past several days, and he will be reevaluated daily. So that don't sound too good. Also said that he had to wear a brace, like a knee brace, all that stuff. I don't think he'll play much of this series, given the fact of his injury, and I just think the Celtics, they need to take care of business because they have some glaring flaws in my opinion, that will get exposed, versus another team I think that may face them in the conference finals. But I have the Celtics winning that series in 5.
Right. I think that the flaws that they have was not as bad as it could be because of the player they went against, which I don't know if James Harden has enough to tap into that old James Harden to make those flaws show again.
Right.
So if James Harden can go back into 2018 and just be aggressive scoring and also getting the dimes off, then they could probably pull off 1 or even 2. You never know, or just prolong the series for Embiid to come back.
Gets back.
So you're gonna need James Harden to be extremely aggressive, which I know he didn't want to do. Hence his reason for going there, but he's gonna have to do that.
Yeah,
for them to make this series a series. And Maxey and all these guys got to step back up.
Yeah.
So the best thing is they swept our team, so that gave them a prolonging rest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've been off for a week now.
Yeah,
James Harden been in Houston in strip clubs, but
Oh yeah, this guy.
Yeah, on a player front. And next series, we have the New York Knicks versus the Miami Heat.
We see what we don't even need to ask him what his joint is.
It says it right there. It says it right here. Right there. Right there.
6.
That's my pick.
Yeah, man, I think see, Miami, I don't know if this level of play is sustainable. I gotta see. Milwaukee had a lot of issues, I think, internally. Obviously, Coach Bud, his brother had passed in a car accident during the series. So that I know took a toll on him and the coaching staff. Giannis being hurt, Middleton being hurt, but also Middleton may not be with the team next year. Brook Lopez is a free agent. I think there's a lot of internal things going on with Milwaukee that also affected them, but no excuse. Shout out to Miami for taking care of business. But I don't know if Jimmy Butler can sustain this level of play against a physical New York Knicks team, against a coach and Tom Thibodeau who knows him very, very well.
Yeah, true.
I got the Knicks in 7, possibly 6 in this series. It's 6 contingent on Julius Randle. If Julius Randle is healthy, because here's the thing, without Julius Randle, and now I think to me it forces Jimmy Butler to start guarding Jalen Brunson, which may be an issue. And don't get me wrong, I know Jalen Brunson put up like 40 one night against him in Miami, but that's the regular season. In the playoffs, it'll be a little bit tougher. There's a lot more physical calls don't get made as much. And I think they need Julius Randle in this series in order to win this series.
Also,
I do have the Knicks in. I'm gonna stay safe. I'm gonna say Knicks in 7.
Also, there was an update earlier today. Both Quentin Grimes and Julius Randle were upgraded to questionable for tomorrow's game.
That's a good sign.
So I expect them to.
And
I expect them to play.
The home court to me is one-sided in this series.
Knicks got both home courts.
Miami is Brooklyn Little, basically.
Yeah, basically.
It's New York South.
It's New York South.
Them in Atlanta, both.
Yeah, New York Knicks fans are going to travel down there.
Or already live down there.
They already live down there.
I got bad family down there.
Yeah,
exactly. So I think the home court is one-sided in the Knicks' favor. And I think also that's ultimately I think that also hurts Miami. And Miami, they gotta against the Knicks, you need depth, man. Like you need depth.
Yeah.
And with Hero being out, and prayers to Oladipo. He had successful surgery, so shout out to Vic. I know he'll be back. With Vic
Oladipo.
I think it hurts them.
Also, I think Bam's it has like a little hamstring issue. Last time I checked.
So my
Bam out of the bio.
So my Knicks hate. I say Heat in 7. But what my basketball knowledge of knowing this is not favorable for the Heat with all the injuries and they're dealing with, I'm going to probably say, like you said, Knicks in 6. But the thing is, we can't doubt Jimmy Butler.
No.
And another thing, we can't doubt that the Knicks do Nick. and that means
They did Nick last series. That's all. That's
you're
all I
right.
checked.
But if you nick with Jimmy Butler, that's not a good thing to do.
I do say this.
I'm gonna lead with my.
I'm gonna lead with my.
It's
different. It's different this time.
Jimmy Butler is going to have a. I 100% believe this. Jimmy Butler is going to have a generational game at the Garden.
And he's the best player on the floor in this series too. By the way,
yes. Right now, yes. Obviously, like. Listen, I am a huge Brunson fan.
Force Randall Wright, y'all. Force Randall Wright. That's what we're gonna put. Force Randall Wright.
Because he's going left.
He's going left.
But I take it back to Brunson.
I think I'm a huge Brunson fan, and I think Brunson has an opportunity to really show out in this series because. Oh yeah, big time.
Oh,
because I don't think Kyle Lowry has a chance in guarding him this series.
Hell no.
So this is why I need.
They're kind of like the same player, which is funny. Like they kind
of which is why I think the Knicks need Julius Randle in this series because it'll force Jimmy Butler to guard him instead of Brunson. Brunson can kind of get off on Celeb Martin or
Strus
or Gabe Vincent.
Yeah.
This series is going to be based on the big men. Bam has to play good, and Randall has to both play good.
And
it's kind of
like low key, like they can't they cancel each other out right now. And with that being said, like to Ernest's point, I don't know if Jimmy can like sustain this because we witnessed Jimmy do this in the bubble. Like put the team on his back, have a crazy performance, and
I think he could sustain it.
And Jimmy was just pissing me off, man.
Yeah, he was.
And it was to the point where Vogel was like, "All right, Anthony Davis, we need you to guard Jimmy Butler now." Like, nothing else we could do.
It was contact layups over Marcus Morris. I'm just like, yo, bro, like he's not stopping. So like,
it was a fact. He was going crazy.
He wasn't stopping. So it's just like,
I think he can sustain it against the Knicks though, because he got all the way to the finals doing that once.
No, so right.
I think he can sustain it.
And I also think it was just the atmosphere in the bubble. Like it was kind of like
I agree with that.
No, I agree. Right, we all can agree that he's the X factor.
Oh yeah.
With Jimmy, I think it was just that sense of being in the bubble and like proving that it's fair game. There's no home court advantage. It's like you either hoop or you go home. There's no fans. It's all virtual. Like we're all living in the same hotel for like these 2 months. Like you're either hooping or you're out, and we're gonna come ball. Like everybody's counting us out right now. So like we're just gonna show up. The Bucks got that. The
kind of like the bubble all over again.
Right, exactly.
Everybody kind of counted them out that year, and they did
exactly. And even we counted them out in the beginning of this year, because like we felt like the Heat wasn't as good as previous years. But my issue is if once Butler, let's say Butler does get burnt out, right? What happens when Kyle Lowry goes ghost? What happens when Bam Adebayo goes ghost? What happens?
Because Bam tends to not show up.
Does not show up at all.
Guarantee that's going to happen in one of these games.
And then again,
maybe the whole series. We never know.
But it's actually good because like both teams have this chip on their shoulder. It's just like who wants it more, honestly.
It's like really like the old Knicks Heat rivalry.
Like I said, we need those jerseys. We need fights to happen. I need coaches to get choked out. I need Jeff Van Gundy there. I need Lonzo Mourning there. I need
somebody got to earn their contract in Miami, and y'all know who I'm talking about. Yeah, $90 million on the bench.
Yeah.
Also,
I think Duncan Robinson.
Duncan Robinson.
And he has to show up. He has to show up this year because like
the lights are going to be too bright for him.
Tyler Hero is on you, buddy.
When them garden lights come on, I think that'll be too bright for him. So
you never know though. That might turn him up though. You never.
You never know.
Because he don't have no expectation to turn up. You just know he needs him too.
We counted him out. We thought he was going to ride on the bench for the rest of the season.
Yeah, he played in the series, in that last series.
If Tyler Hero doesn't get hurt, he's not playing.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
So this is his time to earn some money again. Do something. Jimmy Butler just need a couple of shots, and if Jimmy Butler's having a bad game, the thing about him, he does other things, so he still can't count him out. He'll just start getting steals, diving on, getting rebounds, assists, stuff like that.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, he's out with a broken hand.
Yep.
So also I think that it's gonna be physical both ways. But I believe the rebounding is going to be key to the series. I think the Knicks got a big edge over that. Also, don't forget you got Hartenstein, Mitchell Robinson, Josh Hart's going to run amok because not only he's going to try to get those rebounds, he's going to be the main guy guarding Jimmy Butler. So that's going to leave R.J. Barrett, Jalen Brunson, Emmanuel quickly. You forgot to mention Obi Toppin. So the Knicks have a much deeper bench.
Those guys have to have a good series though. Like they have to, and I'm not saying they won't. I just think like it's not a cakewalk for the Knicks either.
Yeah,
those guys have to show up.
Yeah, they're gonna
the
have to show
Knicks can't
up.
Nick. The Knicks just can't Nick. Don't get in your own way.
I like that.
This is our best chance for y'all to even get to the finals. Keeping it real. This is our best chance right now.
To segue to that, before we close it out tonight, I have a crazy take.
Let's hear it.
I think we actually get the Lakers versus Knicks in the finals this year.
CAA Knicks, clutch sports Lakers. Let's go.
I think it happens.
I hope not.
I think it happens.
I think it happens.
It's a chance,
I have a strange feeling. I think it happens.
I ain't gonna hold you. I ain't gonna go to work for 2 weeks.
Oh yeah.
Either.
Yeah,
Armani, I'm gonna kick myself out the chat, so I'll text you when to bring me back in the chat when that happens. I cannot see all of that Nick madness.
I ain't gonna hold you. Just my anxiety is gonna be at an all-time high. Like I'm gonna sit, every time I eat, watch TV, play 2K, I'm gonna just be shaking, bro.
There's a legit because there's a legit, and this is why I like the team that I said that can give the Celtics some issues are the Knicks because of the
3 out of 4.
Because they beat them 3 out of 4 this year, and because they're so inconsistent, like Boston. I just think, man, like the physicality, like it can get to them. They're not going to face anyone with that physicality up until they see Miami or New York.
Yeah.
Right. And,
unless Embiid come back.
And we'll see about that, right?
Yeah. He brings a physical presence on the inside. He's going to make Al Horford work. So
yeah,
it depends
for sure.
If he comes back. If he don't come back, I agree.
But I'm also saying like they don't have aside of maybe PJ Tucker, but they don't have no one that can bump off Tatum off his spot or Jaylen Brown, right? PJ Tucker's the only wing guy that can do that on that team right now. Versus the Knicks, they have a couple guys that can do that to you. Yeah, so we'll see. Again, the pavement, the route to the finals is laid out for the Celtics, though. It is. They have the easiest cakewalk to get there. But something tells me, I don't know. I think the Knicks have a chance to do something crazy, and
I'm still favoring the Celtics in that because of the talent level and the experience level. But this is the Knicks' chance, though. I ain't gonna act like it ain't. This is their chance. Like I said, they just gotta not nick. As long as they don't nick.
I don't think because Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart, they're
until Spike Lee. Hopefully, if they get to the conference finals, tell Spike Lee to stay home.
Hopefully, it's go ahead.
I think Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, they're not gonna let this team. No,
hopefully it's not a.
There's something cerebral about those two that's like seeping throughout the whole roster, and it's like go back to after Game 4, Jalen Brunson press conference like, oh, we haven't done nothing yet. We're not celebrating. We still got more work to do. So they know, like, hey, job must.
Well, it helps. Finish. It helps that you have Jalen Brunson because he's been there last year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it helps. It helps with the mindset. It helps with the mental makeup.
He comes with great leadership. So
yeah, for sure. So, man,
I just hope that it's not a Patrick Ewing finger roll. You feel
no. Let's hope not. That's heartbreaking.
There you go.
The difference is Patrick Ewing. If Julius Randle give you that, he's not in the caliber of Patrick Ewing. So
hell no.
Yeah,
hell no.
There's a difference.
His knees popped on the way up.
That's a fact. That's just Randall going right when he's not supposed to.
But
Obi Toppin's coming in. I'm good.
But
let's go Heat.
But yeah, man. To conclude the show, Polo, thank you, man, for your presence. We appreciate you joining us on this epic episode. We love to get your perspective. We will have you on again, especially for our off-season episode guide. There's a lot of talk around the Nets, and I know a couple people over there, and we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. I got some insiders over there. They be telling me what's going on or not.
right? But yeah, as we conclude right now, the Denver Nuggets are up 112-95. Six and a half left to go in the fourth quarter. Looks like they'll probably run away with that game and take game one. And the rebound disparity is pretty alarming. Total rebounds right now. Let's see here. We have Kevin Durant has 29 and 13. Good sign.
That's a good sign.
Ayton has 7. But then you look, Jokic has 17 rebounds.
God, man.
Jamal Murray has 5. Aaron Gordon has 6. Yeah.
Golly.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, like Ayton's going to be the key in that series, but we'll see what happens, man.
We all picked the Nuggets in this cracks.
We did. But tune in to the playoffs. There's going to be some interesting games, especially with the series that's starting to come up. And man, we got a treat tomorrow. Game 7, round 1 between the Kings and the Warriors.
Let's go, beam. Light the beam.
And also got game 1.
And then you also got
Heat.
I was about to say, you also got game 1 between the Knicks and Heat
at the Garden,
which is going to be at the Garden, which is going to be insane. So good hoops coming up, man. And Tuesday we'll have, if not mistaken, we'll have the Lakers and either Golden State or Sacramento, and I believe Boston too, right? Boston
Boston
Philly?
starts Monday. Philly starts Monday.
Right,
Tuesday's game 2, Knicks Heat.
Okay, right. Beautiful. So yeah, man. Until next time, peace and love. Take care of each other, and be respectful and peace.
All right,
Lakers at 6. Don't forget that.
Knicks and 6.